make sure you hear me. A while ago, you could not hear me, but now you can hear me, right? Good, good, good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and good afternoon to the late one. Youth Connections with myself, SYLBOURNE SHOW, and I have a very special guest tonight. Uh, a few during the lockdown period, if you do recall, I started Youth Connection because one of my good friend introduced me to our pageant contestants, and we interviewed four of them. And during the course of the time, I was very impressed by these young ladies that I said I will have to find the winner. Well, when the winner is found through the whole pandemic, I'll invite her on to actually speak to us again about what the journey was. And as a result of that, I have her here today, Miss Laetitia Angell. Laetitia, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Letitia, if you're a queen, what do you what do queen do? You're a queen. Do you wave like that or what? You do anything?
Yeah, I can if I want to. Most of being a queen and being the title holder is you just with your title. If you have a certain charity or cause you want to raise awareness for, you can pretty much use your title to your advantage for those type of things. So it's kind
Yeah.
of just making the most out of it. Yeah.
Now tell me now, Letitia, what is it like since the whole leading up to, I'm going to come back to this again, but leading up to from the time that we did the interview to now, are you a changed person or you're the same person?
Um, I would say I've changed in some ways. Since I won the title of Miss Teen Caribbean UK, I think I've gained a lot of confidence and more bravery than I would have had before. I'm
Mhm.
kind of not as nervous when going into these types of interviews and things. So I would say I'm changed, but my personality has stayed the same and I'm still the same old Letitia. Yeah.
Right, right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Letitia is 15 years of age. That is correct, yes?
Yes.
You didn't have a birthday since the last time. 15 years of age. And tell us a bit more about your background. Tell us where do you study and what, well, you don't have to tell us where you study. I don't want to disclose the information, but what do you study and where you're in college, in school, yeah?
Well, this September I started year 11. I
Yes.
will be taking design technology, catering, and history for my GCSEs.
Hmm.
Yeah, so,
And what's the plan? What is it that you want to do? You want to be?
well, if all goes well, I'm hoping to go into an apprenticeship for architecture and hopefully go through the required education and qualifications to become a registered architect.
Okay, okay. So that is when people want to build houses and all those sort of things. You're the person that will sort them out.
Yeah.
And it's normally persons who are in beauty queens or in beauty contests, they'll say maybe to be an international model or
Yeah.
or to be some sort of beauty, something in cosmetics or those sort of things. But that doesn't attract you, is it?
Um, Not really. I think it used to, but I much more like the idea of having two contrasting sides because people think you can only be, oh, an engineer or you can only be a beauty queen, but I'm showing that you can do both at the same time.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me now. Tell me now, and this is interesting bit because when we spoke the last time, we were just in the world pandemic and the lockdown, and it was a bit very strange the contests going on at that time, and also having young ladies who want to do something at that time with the level of unsurety, the level of engagement. What was it that propelled you that made you want to do this and embark down that particular path with Miss Teen Caribbean UK?
Well, I think that at first I was kind of nervous about how everything would go with social distancing
Hmm.
and the kind of rules and regulations on gatherings. But I think what kind of powered me is the thought of just having the experience. I think it's really good if you get the experience, even if it was going to be fine. I could still say I've participated in a beauty pageant. I Yeah, it's mostly the experience and also making new friends in all these different opportunities that have arisen, that's kind of what pushed me to go on.
And what would you say that you gained in the level of, what should I say, experience? You mentioned about being friends, but with the different interviews also, what has it sort of built in you as a young person?
Well, I think it's mostly confidence that it builds because you practice your social skills and it's kind of like going out your comfort zone. That's what builds a lot of confidence and bravery. So if you think that you're not very a social person, because I didn't used to be that social, but now I'm kind of doing all this different stuff that I wouldn't usually before, it's
Mm,
good for building up your confidence.
yeah. Tell us now, give us a sort of idea of what the contest was like, and what are some of the things that you had to do, and your fellow contestants as well. The whole social interaction virtually, because everything was virtually till the event, isn't it?
Yes.
With social distance measures applied. So give us an idea, give us a picture of what the journey was like.
Well, at first I contacted and then I got like officially put in as a contestant, and we kind of had meetings over Zoom and rehearsals for our talent piece, and
Yes,
we had to practice in our own time this talent piece, and then more kind of closer to the crowning ceremony we got the questions for the interview.
yes,
So we had to kind of formulate and then remember it because we didn't know what questions they were going to ask us. So it could be any of them. So that was kind of exciting. Like, what questions would they ask me on the night? And we had the photo shoot as well, which was a really good experience
mhm,
because I'd never done something like that before. And then I also got to meet the other girls for the first time, which was really nice. Yeah, all the girls kind of, people usually think, what I think is that pageants are full of girls who will betray you and they're mean and they'll bully you. But I think it's the complete opposite because you do meet some really nice people.
yeah.
Yeah.
And on the night in question, for argument's sake, what was it like on the night in question?
Well, at first I was really kind of nervous, like my hands were shaking. I was kind of pacing around in my dress. But as soon as I heard the music and my name was announced, I think that all kind of melted away. And I was just able to go out there and do my best and be who I am without changing anything about myself just for the sake of the pageant.
Yes.
And when you do that, I guess it definitely pays off.
I think that is very interesting, Letitia, because I mean, at this time now, with the whole social distancing and the whole evolution, I believe you're back to school now.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I believe the whole pandemic period and the whole COVID period has somewhat taught people different things. What would you say that it taught you? Because before, when you came on, we were talking a lot about race relations. We talked about the Black Lives Matters thing. Because we were talking about George Floyd at that time. What would you say that? How would you say that you've grown at this time from there? I think I asked it before, but I want to sort of dig it a bit. How would you say you've grown during that? And you're still the same age as well.
Yes. Well, I think, as you said, everyone's kind of learned their own separate thing from during lockdown and COVID-19. I think what I've learned the most is not to like hide anything about myself, just let everything about myself all show and be confident in who I am and not try to change myself for anyone else.
Yes.
Because I did a lot of that before lockdown, and then when I had time to kind of relax and rest, I came to love myself a lot more and gain a lot more confidence to go back into school with.
Mm. And now with school back on the scene now, and with COVID still around, what is it like?
Well, we have to wear a mask if we're not in class. It's optional to wear a mask in classrooms. And we have to sanitize our hands before and after we enter a classroom. And we have set up areas at break and lunch to sit, depending on years. And tutors used to be mixed with different years, but now it's just per year. So
Mm.
it's quite different to what we're usually used to, because our school is kind of a community, everyone's mixed in so that the younger years can get to know the older years. But now it's kind of separated, which is really different to what we're used to.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And for those on Instagram, I can see that you're not able to see the guest, but you can hear. Laetitia Angell, she's 15 years of age, and she just won the Miss Teen Caribbean UK. And that's a competition which is not in the typical sense of beauty contest, but more in the sense of intelligence, ability, and motivational for young people. Are you now deemed as an inspirational, motivational factor for young people?
Well, I would hope so. I really kind of want to be a role model and someone that people look up to in the future, especially pursuing my career as an architect. I really do hope that, yeah, people do look up to me and say, I want to become an architect as well. And the teacher is my kind of inspiration.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, I hope so.
But back in school now as as Miss Teen Caribbean UK, um, what is it like there now with that? Is it teachers know about it or is it a secret?
Yeah, the teachers do know about it because I've kind of kept them updated ever since I was officially announced as a contestant, and like let them know. And then when I won, I told them. I got very positive response, a lot
Yes.
of support, and yeah, like kindness towards me. And some of the teachers have asked me about it and what it was like and what I'm going to do in the future. So I think I've had a very positive response from people at school.
So what do you say? You're getting special favors now?
Um, not sure about that. But I do think that the teachers are very supportive, and
Mm.
they're like a reflection of what all teachers should be like. Yeah.
Now, the last time we were on, and the whole purpose of why I do the show, Lakeisha, as I explained before, is it's about engaging with young people and hearing their views and everything. And I see the beauty contest as a step in the right direction, depending on how you handle it. Last time we were on, we are talking about race relationship. We're talking about race relation. We're talking about Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, and I want to still sort of get your views because from that time, but we were right in the middle of it when we had to make different interviews. How do you see? Have you seen like any changes, or understand anything more about the whole race relations, the whole issues regarding the statues, the things that we spoke about at that time?
Well, yeah, after the interview, I did really more research into ethnic history and also the history of the statues to
Yeah,
know which ones are kind of acceptable and which ones I feel should be replaced. Respectfully, I don't think they should be torn down
mm,
because it's kind of like iffy, and it's kind of violent as well. I feel like they should just be taken down and replaced. So yeah, I think I have researched a lot more and like learned more about my history and
yeah,
the history around me.
right. And your history emanates Jamaica, isn't it?
Yes.
Your parents. Now, there's something recently in the news. Don't know if you saw it, but there was a dance group called Diversity. Is it Diversity? Yeah,
Yeah.
Diversity. And they perform at Britain Got Talent. Um, and it was very controversial that it replicated or sort of gave a sort of summary of the whole Black Lives Matter and different thing. It wasn't just that only, but the group got over 10,000 complaints, and many people are actually saying, is it that black issues offend people, or is it that the issues of that dance was in the wrong place at the wrong time? And I like to hear from young people and their thoughts about it because there are different views. And I like to hear what you think about that, Letitia.
Well, I when I saw the video, I thought that they have good intentions. I think that's kind of what happens most of the time with these things. People have good intentions,
Mm,
but they may do one thing, or one element of it is might be triggering or offensive or sensitive.
yes.
I think that replicating the knee on the neck kind of motion with George Floyd was very sensitive. People might find those types of content triggering after seeing the video of George Floyd. So I think they could have handled that or represented George Floyd in a different way instead of that specific kind of position.
Are you trying to say it was too shocking? It was
Yeah, I
treatment.
people didn't expect it to be so kind of suddenly and in your face, just right there. The position, I think that the rest of it was fine. I don't know why it got about 10,000 complaints. I
Yeah,
don't,
it's got the most complaints ever on a program or something like that.
yeah. I don't think that it's black issues. I think it was just the kind of shocking part of that being shown.
Can I dig further?
Yeah.
What I want to dig further is so what you're saying to a certain extent is that the issues are relevant, but it was too graphic. So what you're trying to say, they should have showed a softer aspect. Is it like okay, it's a shock treatment as you said. So what is it? How would you like to see something like that um, being shown to the wider British media because of it's a sensitive issue. Black Lives Matters, people are being discrimination, racism still exists. How do you want people to actually be aware of it?
Well, I think that sometimes people feel like if you show it in a graphic way, then it's going to reach the audience positively because then they get the full story on everything that's happening.
Yes.
But sometimes for people who are triggered or have trauma with those type of things, it's not the best. So I feel just mentioning George Floyd's name um, or showing kind of just him like being arrested and not
Yeah.
any of the police brutality would have
Right.
been a better approach
Mm.
to the whole thing.
No, that's fair enough. I tend to have mixed views on that. We did a show last night, and some people are saying that it was a bit too graphic. Some were saying that it's a family evening, a family show, and people are not want to be bombarded in politics. But what we are seeing now is that music is something that actually show or represent what is happening in society. Rap music, gospel music talk about God, reggae music talk Bob Marley talk about injustice, Babylon. I know I'm going on like that. So are you implying to a certain extent that things like that should not be shown at prime time where children are watching it?
Yeah, I think that they knew the kind of audience that they would reach,
Yeah,
and I think they should have been more family friendly about the way that they showed what they were showing. Yeah.
yeah. That's good. That's very good. I like that perspective there. And is that some of as I always say, young people or anybody, adults. I speak to my mates. What's your mate saying? Is it a controversial topic or what?
Well, I don't think my friends have seen it yet, but
Hmm.
I feel that I will definitely share the link and see what their thoughts are on it. I think that they will think the same, that it's kind of almost insensitive to show that at a time where children and family members will be watching, yeah, and just showing the content in general.
Okay, good, fantastic. Well, listen, I want to just before we wrap up, is to tell me now what is your. I know your ambition is to be an architect, but what is like when you have these beauty contests? I want to be with world peace, and what is it, world peace or whatever like that? What will you use your platform now to do or to change? They always say if you want to see changes in society, be the change. What is the change that you like to see in society that if you could change? and be the change? What is it that you like to do?
Well, I think that I have kind of different things that I want to see change. Definitely the implementation of multicultural history,
Mm,
especially ethnic history, instead of just learning slavery or the making of America and being done with it.
yeah.
I would also like to see more research into mental health, especially for females, as tons of females go undiagnosed every day or misunderstood. I would like to see the closing of the pay gap between men and women doing the same jobs in the same hours.
Hmm.
So, kind of different things that I hope to at least contribute in any way to.
So pay gap, discrimination, and things to be fair. And you're at 15. I was saying to my son the other day, he's 13 years of age, and I was saying that my daughter is 8. I was in the car, and I say to them, "You are in a very crucial and pivotal position at this point in your life at 13." And I even said to you at 15, because you can make it or you can break it. You can be filthy rich or you can be broke. you know so it is a situation whereby, and I'm sure many people, adults, even Sharika is here now, your host for the show, um Miss Teen Cab in UK. We all look back, and I can look back and I can say to myself, I wish that I had done something more at that point when I was 15 or 13 or so. So my encouragement to you is that you're at this key position now, and then the young people, your friends, and that's why I want to keep it a bit short, because sometimes young people can't. Oh, 1 hour. Oh, Laetitia, I can't bother with that. That's so long, man. So keep it 30 minutes tight. So when your friends watch this and they can listen, you said some key things there that you'd like to see change, and you'd want to be the change to make those change as well. And when you speak things into the atmosphere, God will take it and make it real, Letitia.
Yeah.
You know, and politics is out there for you, magistrate. You can do many things at the same time. So the world is yours. There's a, you know, the sky is not the limit. The sky is the start, as I always say.
Yeah.
The sky's a start. And I always say again, don't go with the flow. When you go with the flow, you've been someone else's stream, but to create your own rivers. And you're doing that by actually making the break during the whole pandemic period. And I find that very interesting. I was saying to Rika as well, during the whole pandemic time where everybody's shutting down, everybody's beat relaxed and pulled back, you are going into the deep end, you know.
Yeah.
Did you think about that sometime when you stepped into this zone, what you're really getting into?
Yeah, kind of. I think that I always double check when I'm kind of going into something deeper. Like,
Mm,
am I going to trigger something myself? I always make sure that I try and keep it on the lighter side and not go too deep with
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
So was this a deep trigger or was it a lighter trigger? What is it? Do you find yourself?
I didn't find it that triggering. I think the kind of the racial injustice, like when I was last here on the show, it was
Mm.
kind of triggering for things I've experienced in the past. But I think this was softer.
So you want
Yeah.
something harder, Sharika? If you're here, you want something harder. Right. Let's line it up for you. And then finally, what would you say was the most maybe uncomfortable or challenging aspect of the time leading up to the competition?
I think it was mostly self doubt and kind of
Mm.
my lack of confidence I've been struggling with. Like, I always thought that I was going to mess up or say something silly or
Mm.
trip over at the crowning ceremony, always those
Yeah.
kind of doubts. But in the end, I got over it. And I think that really reflects when you just ignore all the voices or what people have said and be confident in yourself. Yeah.
Okay. And the last word that you share with your young people, your mates, what's the last word? You have the last word,
Um,
not me.
if you have doubts about anything, then there's no point, and you should go for it because I went for it. I didn't give up at all, and now I'm Miss Teen Caribbean UK.
And ladies and gentlemen, what you should say is whoop whoop. Is that what they say? Whoop whoop
Whoop,
whoop
whoop.
whoop. And as what do? You have to wave or something like that. You do the wave. All right. Great. That's really funky. I saw it on Instagram. I must say it's really funky. Well, listen, Laetitia Angel, thank you so much for coming on, ladies and gentlemen, and those all over, and for those watching this on the replay as well. Let's keep bigging up, and let's keep encouraging our young people in everything that they do at this time, because it's a learning curve, it's a learning period, it's a learning process. They'll make mistakes. They must make mistakes because hey, that's how people grow, by making mistakes. And you only make mistakes when you make steps and you step out to do something. Because if you don't make mistakes, you're actually trying to stay in the safety of the shores. When you say in the safety of the shores, you're not going to the deep, right, Letitia? You got to go into the deep. And they say deep calleth unto deep. And you know one of the things, Letitia, about going to deep? That is when you see the wonders. So you have to step out. And also something which is very important, and I believe Denzel Washington says this: you never have a backup plan, never have a second option. Goes for this first option, the first one, and let God do the rest. Because when you have a second option and a backup plan, you are actually expecting that, oh, if anything happens, I can go back. But when you don't have no option, no second option, no backup plan, you only have to succeed and you got to go forward. All right. So that's
Yeah.
my word to you and the young people today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for coming on. And remember to like and share the show with myself, Silburn TV on YouTube, Instagram as well, and keep supporting Letitia. She's on Instagram as well. I don't know if you accept people, but she's growing as well. So thank you very much, and have a good night, and see you next time around. And as we say, um, bye. No. The men don't do that. The men don't do that, do they? Prince Charles would actually go, yeah. Stay there, Letitia. Let me see